Internet Festival. Forme di futuro.
I will do my talk in English. I will talk slowly, and hopefully you can follow my reflection on museum objects, on technology, and what's the impact of technology on museum collections. So my main question is, what happens if museum objects turn into smart objects? I will explain to you what the concept of smart objects is about. I like this picture a lot because it shows a little bit on how technology and museum objects are involved and related. Of course, this is a stage photograph, but it's an interesting one. Of course, you all know that there is a lot developing on the technological side. And many people talk these days about the Internet of Things. And this is a new concept, and I want to explain to you a little bit on the developments from the last decades. In fact, you see a development of data being connected, which led to what we call Google. The next step is, in a way, that data and persons were connected, which led to Facebook. And in a way, the next step will be, and is already at stake, that data, persons, and also objects and sites and locations will be connected. And this is done by computer chips, and you all have a mobile, and there is a chip in it. And in fact, by using a mobile, you are already part of the Internet of Things, because it locates you, it connects you with information in the cloud, it connects you sometimes with chips or computers in your house, for instance. So in a way, these kind of devices connect us with what we call the Internet of Things. And you see another symbol, and this is the symbol that is connected with a recent publication by Dave Eggers, an American writer, who wrote a book that's called The Circle. And this is a book that is reflecting on future developments. It is about a lady that's working in an enterprise which is a mixture of Google and Facebook together. And it shows, in fact, the next step. And we don't know if we should be happy or not with this next step. But the thing is that things will evolve. And things will make also objects connected to what we call the Internet. So I'm talking about objects, museum objects, even buildings. The spaces like this are able to be connected with the Internet. And I'm talking about three concepts in a way. The first is what you already see and what's already happening is that you can make a 3D model of an object, and you can print it on different scales, and you put sensors in it. I will show an example. The second concept is much more powerful, I think, and much more helpful for visitors. And that is that you take the original object and you mix it with existing models, 3D models, and that you can project on the original. I will show that as well. And the third step is the future step, but it's already possible. That is that you connect original objects with active sensors. And it's more and more likely to be done because sensors, chips are smaller, cheaper, more powerful these days. So it's not about money anymore. It's about strategy. It's about if you want to connect these objects. Okay, first example is in my museum we have a plaster cast of a relief from the Arapaces in Rome. And we can, of course, print a 3D model of this monument. It's a small scale model, of course. And as you can see, there are buttons on the different reliefs, and you can push them, and then on a screen next to it, like here, on a screen next to it, you see, for instance, a 3D reconstruction with the color reconstruction as it was in Roman times. And that's, of course, something that is not that difficult anymore. And it's explaining a lot on the original object, in this case, the plaster cast of this Arapaces monument. Okay, so this is the first step, the first way to implement smart objects. And the next step is much more interesting and powerful, because we have been digitizing a lot on our cultural heritage over the last decades, but so far we put it on screens, or we put it in projections, and some people say that it's distracting from looking at the original, and in fact these people are right. So recently we have been thinking on how to use these augmented reality images, these kind of reconstructions, to enhance the visitor experience by having people looking at the original. And this is an object from the museum where I work. It's an incense burner. It's a bronze small object, 10 centimeters high, from a Coptic church in Egypt. And of course, when you put it in a showcase, everybody can see it, but it's not that interesting, it's not that appealing, it's not as big as you see it now. So what you can do is put it in a showcase, make a 3D model of it, and project a model, or I will show you just in a minute, or an animation on the object, and use a very old technique, which is about Pepper's ghost. It's projecting on a window screen in front of the object, and then you can have an animation on the object itself. I will show you. Hopefully the video will work. Oh, that's a bad sign, I think. No, there's no connection with internet, I think. So you have to believe me. What's happening is that there is a showcase with this object. There is a screen, a glass screen, where you can look through, of course, and above it is a screen that is projecting, in fact, the 3D model on the object itself. So in this way, it's a very powerful animation, because it's on the object itself. Can you make this happen? No. If you there is a link here, but it's not working.
If you have the pen drive, maybe it's inside of the pen drive.
It's a YouTube, or maybe not. Okay, well, leave it. I mean, it's not that important.
If you want, we can find the link on web directly.
Yeah, I can. You can. If you could. Yeah, I will find it in a minute. So it's no problem. It's an internet festival, so we should have internet. So. Let me search it. I will. Let me see. Let me see what happens. Oh, there you go. It's like that. It's that easy. So this is what you will see if you look at the actual object. So the smoke is of course projected, but it's because it was used as an incense burner. It's like magic, because we don't like smoke in the museum, but you can project it, of course. And so this animation is then, let's say, rising from the object, and then the different stages of this decoration on the object are highlighted. It's now a little bit small, maybe, but I think you will get the thing. And this is the different scenes in the life of Christ, of course. And of course, this is a very simple technique. It's powerful because it's not distracting. It's learning you to look at the object itself. So this is something which we are now working on, and which has a big future, I think, because it's easy to adapt, and so that's. Thank you for the assistance. Let me see where I can follow my talk. But the next step to creating a smart object is, in a way, about what I already explained, is about integrating objects into this Internet of Things. And what's happening then is very interesting, because as you can see on this image, there are relationships between persons, and it's possible to create a system where the system knows who is with you, who is in the same space, and of course they are all connected with the cloud. There is a relationship between one visitor and an object. There is a relationship between two paintings, and even all the objects in this space. So this interaction is very interesting, and in a way, it's already happening when you are visiting the internet, because then there is a system with cookies, with all the applications you are looking at, all the websites you are looking at. They are taking the information from your. Sorry, I have to stop a video because. Sorry. Yeah, that's about internet. So these relationships can be very powerful, so to come back to my question, what will happen if museum objects turn into smart objects? Is that all information is directly connected to a site or to an object. I mean, it's possible. If we put chips on the objects, which is not that difficult, it's an opportunity. Visitors can then get a personalized narrative based on their profile or on that of the people that join you. So hopefully we can use it to give visitors a better visitor experience. But it will also lead to a curatorial evolution, because until now, curators decide on what objects you will see in the museum and what kind of information you will receive on a panel, in the text, or whatever kind of media they will use. So, in a way, if you put an object into your museum and you connect the information directly to the object, and the visitor can get it directly from this Internet of Things system, the curator is not that important anymore. He will have a different position. So what does this mean for the museums? So they need to change their curatorial practice. So they need to open up, they need to be adaptive, I think, because this is going to happen anyway. I mean, my previous speaker was talking about a Facebook profile on his museum. Facebook profiles are generated automatically. My museum, there was an automatically generated Facebook profile. The system does it. So we should not wait until somebody else is doing this in making all the objects part of the Internet of Things. So we need to open up further. And I know that there is a big discussion on the directors appointed here, but I think that's only one part of the solution. The other part of the solution is that you need to, well, let's say, try to change or open up the organizations that are already there. There are many people working there with a lot of expertise. So you need not only put somebody new on the top, you should also try to invest in the existing organizations. We do that by organizing events like a museum camp. We did that this year for the first time. And in this way, you invite creative people for 3 days to collaborate with your staff. And it's very intense, it's very challenging, but it's the only way to really make your own staff learn from technology, learn from what's happening in society. So these kind of concepts are very important for museums to really adapt to new technologies. I only show you one example. This was a projection on a Roman relief on the colors that it once had, and it was just one way to open the eyes of our curator on what was possible in presenting this object. So I hope I will have inspired you to think and look for new ways of organizing collections and also integrating technology. And I thank you for your attention.
Internet Festival. Forme di futuro.